Hey, Life Group fam, it is May already. I cannot believe that, how time flies. We're excited about the rest of this semester as we finish out. Got a cool opportunity for you guys to tell your small groups and invite them into. We are taking our first adult mission trips this summer, one to Bolivia and one to Nicaragua. And so if you guys want to be a part of that, if you want to join that, or if you want to know more information about it, go to our website, riversidechurch.org, and go to our missions page. There's a place that you guys can register, but do it quick because this is the last week to register and we'll send you information. So if you guys want to do that, please, we'd love to have you join us.
So we just finished our series on making and sending disciples, and so at the end of that series, we really want that to be a starting point for us to move forward into those discipling relationships. And so the question for all of you as facilitators is, who are you going to step into those relationships with? Because one of our major goals for this summer is to have every facilitator in a discipling relationship. Over the last couple months, we've been talking about several things. We talked about being an intentional leader, about having relational environments and establishing those. The next area that we're going to talk about is a reproducible process.
So as we start talking about a reproducible process, I want to go back to what Jesus did with his 12 disciples. He had a message that he gave them to take to the world, and he also had a method of how he wanted them to do that, and he modeled that in front of his disciples. And so in this day and age of innovation, I want to resist the urge to innovate something new, and I want to imitate something that's 2,000 years old. And so as we start to think about who are we going to disciple, we've got to figure out how to go back to the reproducible process that Jesus modeled with his 12. So this past weekend was a hard weekend for me and my family. We got to watch the final days of my grandma as she got to pass from this life to meet Jesus in the next. And I was thinking back on her life and thinking about the greatest things that she taught me. And they weren't in a classroom, they weren't a lecture behind a closed door, they weren't this harsh talk of correction. It was this lifelong thing that she modeled. And I think the biggest thing that she modeled for me was joy, and joy in the midst of hard circumstances. So through the midst of divorce, the midst of growing up and a single mom and raising a family and losing jobs, she chose to model joy over the circumstances of her life. And so for me, it's cool to see how she modeled that over a long period of time as opposed to one thing. And I think that looks like a lot of what Jesus did. He had 3 years with his disciples that he modeled things that he wanted them to then go and reproduce in other people. And so that's our part now, is how are we going to reproduce what Jesus modeled with the guys and gals that we're going to live intentionally with.
And so with all of that in mind, we want to give you practical ways that you can live this out. Because Jesus gives us, as Christ followers, he gives us plenty of areas where we get to play, whether it be serving, giving, living this out with the people that we are walking beside. There's a lot of areas for us to play, and so there's a model that I use when I'm walking beside someone to help live this out. And so that is, I do, you watch. And so that is, I'm going to do it. I'm going to encourage them to watch me model this. I'm going to live it out in front of them. The next one would be, I do, you help. And so this is me inviting them into that. I'm still doing it, but they're able to participate a little bit more. They're able to engage. The biggest jump that we take is this next one where it's you do, I help. And so they're going to be doing it now, but I'm kind of a safety net. I'm going to be there to encourage them, to help them with little things that need done, but they're going to be the one leading it out. And then the final one would be you do, I watch. And that's me really taking that step back, kind of like Paul did with Timothy, where he checked in with him regularly, but he let Timothy go out and live out that mission on his own. And so that's what we're going for, and hopefully this process doesn't even end there, but it takes that next step to where they do it with somebody else watching. That's really the goal of this. We want to reproduce this and build this in others.
Hey, so our goal is that we wouldn't just hope something happens by accident or anything else, that we'd be intentional about modeling what we want reproduced with a small group of people that we can be intentional with, just like Jesus did. So go love your people well, get somebody that you can be intentional with, and call them to walk beside you as you walk beside Jesus. We love you. Take care.